All right, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. We're going to check out its local search, its city search, and we're going to see if it's got BSS, yes or no. So we're back here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing our North Star as always is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture, and this is our North Star because it explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here in white, and we got way on the left. We got the highest 10 people, the Google searchers, the social media searchers. These are people that are looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Highest 10 people, closest to the money, highest conversion rate. And over on the right, we got the lowest 10 people. These are, reached by interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. People ain't looking for a boudoir right now. Most of them don't even know what the heck boudoir is. So that's our sister brand, FB Ad Doctor. Talk about BLCS over there, different profiles. And these are the we currently over there only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here we talk about BSS. We're gonna dive into it right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And when a boudoir photographer's got 0 slots, well, they're on page 2 or deeper, and that's extra bad. And that's because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done. And so this is who we care about. We care about the approximately 80% of Google searchers because they're the bulk of the market. We don't care about the remaining 20%. Let's focus on the approximately 80%. So we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to all of them. 1 slot on page 1 Google, also not good enough. Still basically invisible, simply because we look the same as everyone else. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 of Google, well, there's 10 slots. And as a result, it's probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers, 1 link for each. And so, a buyer, what they're going to be doing is just, clicking, going down, clicking everyone's link, and, price shopping everyone, and basically contacting everyone, jamming down the price, jamming down the what a seller can get, and it's become super, super cutthroat. So we never want to be at 0 or 1. We call that boudoir search sameness. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. Extremely common, extremely accepted, but not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. First deeper root cause, market saturation. Someone get a new iPhone, then they throw up on Google Maps that they do boudoir photography, and they got a website that's starting to rank page 1 on, or competing to rank page 1 on Google. Or someone gets a new camera, they start posting in the mom groups that they shoot boudoir now. So this market saturation, basically everyone knows about this. A big kind of tsunami happened during COVID. People couldn't work, lost their jobs, they still need to earn money. Everyone's got a smartphone, everyone's got an awesome camera. So a lot of boudoir photographers entered the market. Makes it harder for every other boudoir photographer in that market because it's the same sellers or more sellers for the same number of buyers. So it gets harder and harder for each seller. Now, this new one that very few people know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. That is that's the second deeper root cause for why people only have 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And that's because it's simply kind of automatically accepting or agreeing with, or maybe not even thinking about if it's true or false, but kind of an auto assumption that each boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And if you're on page 1, you had your 1 slot with your website, and market gets a little bit more saturated, you get kicked down to page 2. Well, that's simply how it is. You win some, you lose some. And, you kind of got to simply wait for someone to delete their boudoir photography website to actually increase or, actually hopefully move back up onto page 1. So that's a false belief. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Best part is, requires no Google ads, which at max will give you 1 PPC slot somewhere on the page, even if there's other available inventory open. And their momentum dies when you stop spending. So there, and you got to test and figure out all these things to get them to work, constant checking. Way too much maintenance for not enough outcome there. Next, we know that Boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing Boudoir photographer, because if they're on page 2 or deeper, or if they're on page 1 but one slot essentially invincible, then they disappeared from essentially like the 80% of searchers, which means the boudoir photography business itself is on the path to disappearing as well. And we don't want that to happen. So we got our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Thankfully, though, we now have a solution because we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka executed methodology. And we know that because we invented it, we've used it. We've gone from, again, 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We're going to saturate the highest intent keywords on social search. And as a result of that, well, when we do that, it's kind of like small streams and rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America. When we successfully have those eventually flow down into the large Amazon River. They all merge. And likewise in our scenario, all our social search saturation eventually flows down and merges onto Google page 1 Google search, those 10 organic slots. And Google will give us as many as we put in the effort to acquire. And also SQ methodology is the only thing I've seen that actually, for boudoir photographers, that is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. So, maintain the business and actually still grow in spite of market saturation. So still get bigger and happen relatively quickly, get results shown up relatively quickly. The only other thing I've seen that can fight back against market saturation and still allow the business to grow in spite of market saturation is brand. Having a well-known massive brand. Dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time. SQ methodology works relatively way faster than that. And AI is taking people's jobs, taking people's opportunities. We ain't got 5 to 10 years to build a brand. With SQ methodology, if let's say there's a million boudoir photographers in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're one of them, and everyone's got their own boudoir photography website, competing to rank page 1 Google search, then what's going to happen is we need to try a new strategy to actually outcompete everyone else. So take SQ methodology, we crank it up to the max, and let's say we take the first 300 slots on social search for all the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and we actually, that saturation actually flows onto Google page 1, and we actually get the first 300 slots Google to ourselves. What actually happens is, it's 10 organic Google slots per page, and as a result, we got the first 30 pages all to ourselves, and the final one is, page 31. That's essentially our competitors first start showing up for organic search. So boudoir buyers basically never find them. So whose business is growing when we got ultra market saturation, a million boudoir photographers? But where the first 300 slots anywhere a boudoir buyer looks. Obviously, our business is still growing. Everyone else's business is disappearing, dying off. It's because SQ methodology is the only thing that enables that without having a brand. And it actually speeds up the process of acquiring a brand. My estimation is probably 8x faster. It's because we're seen on so many more surfaces so much more frequently. Next, once we treat with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility. And an initial benefit of this, and a second benefit utilizing SQ methodology, is every new slot we take, page 1 on Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So that's a second benefit. That's another initial benefit of utilizing SQ methodology, is we're getting more, kicking more pieces off page 1. We already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're making our competitors invisible to approximately 80% of the searchers out there. Awesome. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. This is where we want to hit our recommended 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google, because that's the GBC recommended minimum. And that's because if we got 3 slots, basically everyone else will have 1 slot, we'll look way better than them. Way higher chance buyers, click on us and don't even click on our competitors because they're like, wow, why does Google recommend this person 3 times? That's the 3rd person I've seen them now on this page. They may not even click on any of our competitors. And in the very rare case, another boudoir photographer competitor has two slots, then we're still dominating them as well. We got it because we got three. So that's why we got the GBC recommended minimum of three. And a boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality. And we now have a solution, execute methodology. We achieve page one visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Next, my results. So my results, I want to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. Okay, I'm going to utilize my execute methodology to achieve that. And after 10 days, these are my results. So page one is it Google organic page one, or the organic slots here for organic search. Slot one, me. Slot two, me. Slot three, me. Slot four, me. Slot five, me. Slot six, me. Slot seven, me. Slot eight, me. And slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots page one on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google, all by purely using S-cubed methodology. Now, all right, main event here. Let's see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its its local search and its city search. Also going to see if it is hitting the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google. All right, so we're going to Rancho Cordova, California. All right, so here we go. We're in Rancho Cordova, California, and let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. No, that doesn't count. All right, so we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS for our local search, and we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google. We're going to go to our city search now, larger city search, Sacramento, California. Let's check out here. Let's see. All right, we got one. Boom. Nice. City's always harder than local. So, all right, we got 1 out of 10. And let's see. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 local. So we do still got BSS for that one. All right, so final result, we got so local we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS. City we got 1 out of 10. We also have BSS, and for both, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google. All right, so if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, and you're seeing the market saturation, and you're realizing page one equality is now a false belief that doesn't exist. I mean, look at the screen right here. This is where I got 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And you want to use S-cubed methodology to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Because you see AI coming, and you see that it's going to take a ton of people's jobs, and you're seeing that a lot of these people are going to come in, start their boudoir photography businesses, same as COVID, and you want to prepare so that no matter how many people come into the market, you always have enough links on page one, and to be visible, minimum 3 out of 10, the GBC minimum for local and city. And so you're basically planning for the future. And you also know kind of the more topic cohesion, or to get ranked for these keywords that your business has, your brand has, the higher the chance Google AI summary at the top of search will recommend you. And potentially even kind of the more we do S-cubed methodology, the more it feeds into all the back-end search rankings for all the other AI systems. So people, ask ChatGPT, give me some boudoir photographers in, Cincinnati. Last time I checked using ChatGPT to search, I gave up like 3, put up like 3. So if we actually have higher chance to be ranked for that, higher chance of surviving after AI forces more boudoir photographers onto the marketplace, all competing for the same buyers, and want a higher chance to, we got to do this to have our best chance of becoming the number one boudoir photographer in our city, then shoot me a DM when I open up intake for new patients at the hospital. So DMs are closed right now, not doing any new patient intake right now. But when my DMs do open up, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify for the S cubed methodology.